the tour, you'll learn how we're more than a zoo, we're a botanical garden, an institute for conservation research. We have projects going on all over the world to help out different endangered species. We currently have about 100 projects in over 35 different countries. But we're also at a breeding facility for rare and endangered species. We actually just had a baby gorilla born at the zoo about 3 months ago, and I'm going to point you guys in the direction to see that baby gorilla after the tour, if you'd like to see that baby. Usually, I heard he's supposed to be out till about 1 or 2 o'clock today. So on the right-hand side, it's called Treetop Sway, the path on the right. That'll take you down towards our primates if you want to see that monkey, those monkeys, that gorilla, those orangutans. We also have some really cool aviaries down there. One of them is has over 200 birds, it's 3 stories, has over 40 different species of birds. It's called Owens the Aviary. Now here on the right we have our flamingos. Anyone know what you call a group of flamingos? A flamboyance of flamingos. I'm not kidding. A flamboyance of flamingos. The one that's right there kind of in the front with his leg up, the reason they lift their legs is thermoregulation to regulate their body temperatures. The one that's a little bit lighter is one of the young ones. So it takes them about a full year to turn pink like the adults. And they get that pink coloration from the food that they eat. Now over on the left you'll see the exit. Just past that we have the Skyfari tram. That's the aerial tram that'll take you to the other side of the zoo. The children's zoo, the reptile house is right in front of us. That's the building with the red roof. We have Galapagos tortoises behind that building. Those tortoises can live to be over 150 years old. Some of ours are in their hundreds. Wow. So we're going to head down into the Lost Forest. I just ask that you guys keep your arms and legs inside the bus and all of your belongings in the bus for me. You don't want to lose anything today on the tour. Also, for those of you upstairs, I have a camera. Kind of creepy, huh? I can see all of you guys. Hi there. Right in the front. The camera's right in the front, so I see you waving to me. If you guys have anything that you need, or if there's an emergency or anything, just stomp your feet, wave your arms at the camera there, and I'll be right with you. Now, also, please hold on to those handrails when you guys stand up, and keep your feet on the ground for me. Now, we are heading down into the Lost Forest here, so we have a trail on the right-hand side. It's a great place to take a walk in the afternoon when it warms up a little bit. There's lots of beautiful trees and plants down here. A lot of the plants that we grow here at the zoo are also endangered species. So we also grow a lot of the food for our animals here at the zoo. We grow acacia trees, bamboo for the panda bears. There's coffee plants here along this, and that's what we're doing with Connor's home there. But every single day we add different environmental enrichment devices, or just a fancy name for toys, to the exhibits for the animals to stimulate those natural behaviors they do in the wild, like climbing, jumping, swinging, digging. Everyone look on the right-hand side. Way back there, behind those trees, you see him wiggling his tail. That's called an okapi. So you can see him, he's behind this palm tree, and then there's another plant way back there. You have to look really closely. There's actually 2 of them. They're way back there in the bushes. Those are called okapis. And they have those black and white stripes on their legs, but they're more closely related to giraffes than they are zebras. So even though they look a little bit like a zebra, their tongues are about 15 inches long, similar to a giraffe, that they'll use to pick the leaves off of trees, but they can also clean out their own ears using that long tongue of theirs. So here in the pool on the right is where you'll find our baby river hippo. I'm not expecting to see him here because I'm sure Mom is hiding him pretty well, him or her. We're not sure if it's a male or female yet. But those river hippos are one of the most territorial and dangerous animals of Africa. They have extremely powerful jaws, and they're not afraid to use those jaws if anyone gets in their way. They don't have very many predators out there, besides maybe humans, or when they're young hippos have to look out for lions, of course. Also 2 of our grizzly bears, and a lot of these monkeys in here were part of the bush meat trade. Do you guys know what that is? That's the illegal trading of animals for either consumption or pet trading. So some people think it would be really fun to get an exotic animal as a pet, an endangered bird or a primate. But a lot of times that's the reason why they are endangered, is because of the illegal pet trading. Now over on the right, if you guys go all the way down this path here on the right-hand side, that'll take you to our panda bears. So even though the canyon's closed down below, we're doing a lot of construction there, our panda exhibit is still open. And that's one of the reasons we are a world-renowned zoo, is because of our panda bear. Those panda bears are very endangered. There's only about 1,600 of them left in the world. So the fact that we're able to breed them and share a lot of that information with other zoos is great. We're also protecting those habitats for those wild panda bears, and someday, hopefully, we'll be able to release some of those bears back into their natural habitat. Now up on the right-hand side, This is our Andean condor exhibit. This is our Eagle Hill aviary on the right-hand side. So Andean condors that live up there have about a 12-foot wingspan. If they were standing right in the middle of this bus stretching, the zebra has their own unique stripes. It's almost like a fingerprint. And those stripes are very important to their survival. It's a form of camouflage called disruptive coloration. So if you're a predator like a lion and you're looking at a herd of zebra, they're moving really quickly in a large group, it's hard for them to pick out their target with those black and white stripes. It kind of blurs their vision. On the left, we've got polar bear plunge. We have 3 polar bears that live here. 2 of those polar bears were rescued when they were just babies. Their mother was killed, and we were able to rescue those babies, so they brought to us when they were just still pretty little. So look on the left-hand side, see if you guys can find a polar bear for me. Does anyone see one? If not, we're going to keep going. Let's keep going here. Never know what you're going to see here at the zoo. Sometimes the animals are participating in a tour. They're right up where we can see them. Sometimes they're a little sleepy. We don't force them to do anything. If they want to sleep, they can sleep. We also have that water chilled to about 55 degrees, so sometimes they're out in the water swimming. And those polar bears in the wild will swim up to about 60 miles straight, looking for food in that freezing cold water. The cold water in the Arctic obviously gets a lot colder than 55 degrees, but they use their big claws to paddle through that water to find their food, which a lot of times one of their favorite things they're looking for is seals. That's one of their favorite things to eat. Up here on the right-hand side, we have geronets. On the right, look at that long neck. They can stand up on their hind legs and reach up really high with that long neck, make themselves taller than me. You get some of the leaves that are higher up in the trees that the other animals can't reach. It's one of the adaptations they have to find food. Look at the baby gazelle back there on the right. See the baby gazelle? They're only a few weeks old. The right-hand side. Really cute. They're still learning how to run around and chase mom, and they're pretty clumsy. They're really fun to watch. Here on the left-hand side, this is our Skyfari tram. So if you guys are going to take the tram, you can catch it from this side of the zoo. It'll take you right on over to the exit of the zoo there. Now up ahead on the left, we have our mountain lion exhibit. We've got a male and female. Male's on the top, laying on that platform there. The male is down below her in the dirt, so he's the one with the big mane. The males usually develop that after about a year of age. The female's up on the platform. Now they do sleep about 20 hours a day, so this is very common for lions. They've got to save all their energy for the big hunt. In the wild, they will take down extremely large animals and eat up to about a quarter of their body weight in just one meal. Can you imagine eating over 100 pounds of food? Covering herself in mud, which they do very often to keep themselves protected from the sun. It's a little warmer today, so she's covering herself up with that mud to keep herself nice and cool, but also keep that skin protected from the sun. So notice how large her ears are. She's an African elephant. The Asian elephants have smaller ears. And they use those ears to cool themselves off. They'll fan themselves off with those ears, but they also have lots of blood vessels that flow to their ears. So when they move them back and forth, it helps to cool their blood.
Oh, look at his trunk coming out of the hole at the bottom.
Large tusks. What do you think they use those tusks for in the wild? Any guesses? What? Protection? The elephants use them for protection, but also digging watering holes. And that only helps out not only helps out the elephants, but other species as well. So, but that's all. One of our dromedary camels, they only have 1 hump. Bactrian camels have 2 humps. What do you think they store in those humps? It's fat. Fat, not water, but fat. They can go almost a whole month without eating any food and about 3 weeks or so without drinking any water. So they can lose up to about 40% of their body weight in that month. Now over on the right, this is one of our greatest success stories here at the San Diego Zoo. This is our California Condor exhibit, one of my favorite exhibits here at the zoo because it tells you what we're all about. And that's about conservation, ending extinction, helping out all of these endangered species. So back in the 80s, these birds here, there's one there on the right-hand side up on the perch there in the middle. In the 80s, these birds were critically endangered. There were only about 22 of them left in the wild. So there were less birds in the wild than there are people. Earlier, I remember I told you guys we have guanacos over by the elephants. Guanacos are the wild relative of the llama. So they look a lot like a llama, but they're a little bit more shy. So that llama there, we actually will bring out sometimes out of his enclosure, walk him around the zoo. He's one of our animal ambassadors here at the zoo. So he is trained. Here on the right, we have our Australian Outback exhibit. We've got tree kangaroos, wallabies, and 21 koalas here. The second largest collection in the world next to Australia. We actually had 2 babies born in this exhibit coming up on the right with our females here. About a year and a half ago when they were so teeny tiny when they were born. They're only about the size of a jelly bean, but we can't see them for the first 6 to 8 months. Mom hides them pretty good in her pouch there. And then after about 6 months they come out of the mom's pouch and you'll see them riding around on her back like a backpack. So what do you guys think? Are they bears? They're not bears, they're marsupials, just like a kangaroo or wallaby. So those babies develop in the pouch before you can really... This is the closest stop to where you guys get off the guided tour. After you get off the tour, you can come over here to Urban Jungle, catch the express bus, and then the next stop, stop 2, is right over by the panda bears. So that'll save you guys from walking all the way to the panda bears. All right, everyone, get your cameras out. We have our baby giraffe here, only about 10 months or so, on the left-hand side. How many of you have seen a baby giraffe before? Here's one of our females coming up on the left-hand side, and then one of our young giraffes here. This is our little male. His name is Bellart. He is about 10 months old. He was 6'2" the day he was born. He's right here on the left-hand side. He weighed about 146 pounds. Can you imagine, ladies, a 14-month pregnancy, and then you give birth to a 6'2" full-grown basketball player? I feel pretty lucky. I'm about 7 months pregnant. I'll take that 7 to 8 pound baby.
This one is a baby giraffe?
Yeah, it must be. She said 10.
So he was walking after about an hour of birth. They do, animals that are found in Africa do walk very, very quickly to avoid those predators. I'm going to move forward so you guys can see his sister. She's a little over a year old, but he's actually catching up to her in height. They're almost the same height. They have the same father. His name is Silver, and he's the one all the way back in the corner here, the tallest one in here, and the one with the darkest spots. He's about 17 feet tall. So if he was standing right next to this bus, he'd be looking down on those of you on the upper level. Here he is on the very end on the left-hand side. Now Kumi is right there in the middle. That's the one that's a little over a year and a half, the female. And here's our large male at the very end on the left-hand side. His name is Silver. He's the father, the Kumi and the Lark. Now Kumi means 10 in Swahili. She was her mother's 10th baby. Now look at that long tongue. You see them sticking out their tongues? That tongue can get to be about 18 inches long. They pick the leaves off of those acacia trees without getting poked by those big thorns. Now their tongues are also sort of a grayish color. Why do you think they have a gray tongue? It helps to protect them from sunburn. Spend a lot of their day with their tongue out, so that really helps to protect their skin on their tongue. Now as we move forward, I gotta turn my mic down. We're in a quiet zone.
We always go see it. It's really cute. The birds fly so low. Like,
On the left?
Oh, cheetah.
leopard, cheetah.
Whatever. Boy, you can see him good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rhino on the right. Coming up at the very last tree, look right in the middle, we have another one of our koalas snuggled up right on the top of that branch there. Now they do eat eucalyptus and they eat over 24 types of eucalyptus. They are pretty picky.